Actually, I forgot to turn the music off. I'm sorry. It won't let me just close it out. There we go. Sorry about that. Can you hear me? Just like, give me a thumbs up or something. Hello, thanks for joining me. Take a comfortable seat. If you have something to raise your hips up a little bit, that might be helpful. So just let your legs just sink into the earth. Take some calm, deep inhale, followed by a gentle exhale. It's okay if your knees are in a different position. Everybody's body is different. Where I am in the world, it's very cold out. It feels like winter, actually. So take this time to be grateful for your comfort. I'm going to pull a couple of sacred self-care cards to give us an intention of something to focus on during our practice. The first one is use your hands. So it shows someone doing some kind of craft work. So I take that to mean focus on your creativity, because everyone's creativity is different. And the next one is connect with crystals. So right next to me here, I have the rose crystal quartz healing crystal bowl that I'm going to play later at the end. And that will help us connect to the love in our heart, the love around us, self-love. And I'll pick just one more. Sound healing. This card is literally showing someone playing crystal singing bowls. So I think I made the right choice with that one. So take a deep breath, and on your exhale, turn gently towards your left. You can put your right hand on your right knee, and we'll just hold that. Of course, at any time, if anything is uncomfortable, you can back out of it. On your next Exhale, come back to center. Inhale and twist gently to the right. You can place your left hand near your knee to help deepen the twist. We'll hold there. Try to rise through your crown to keep your back as straight as possible. Inhale, and on the exhale, come back to center. So if you're sitting on something, move it out of the way and come onto hands and knees, tabletop. And we'll do some cat-cow. On the exhale, round your back. Inhale. Press, push your stomach down and raise your butt up in the air. Exhale. Inhale. Continue at your own pace with your own breath. You can put a little bit of curve in this. Now come back to neutral and can kind of look over your right shoulder towards your right heel. That stretches out the left side a little bit. Then we go back to neutral and then towards the left. Look at over your left shoulder at your left heel. Or towards it if you can't bend that far. Back to neutral. Release down onto your belly. You're going to rise up on your forearms and elbows into Sphinx pose. You give it some time, you might feel some releasing in your lower back. But if it's too uncomfortable, as I said, you can pull out of it. You can go into child's pose at any time. We'll be staying in each pose for a few minutes. You could focus your eyes straight ahead, or you can look at the tip of your nose. So gently unfocus your eyes towards the tip of your nose. Now gently lower your forehead down onto your hands. This is crocodile. You might want to bring your toes together. And let your heels go out to the side. Gently roll over onto your back. Pull your knees into your chest to release the lower back. You might want to rock back and forth or lengthwise on your spine, whichever is more comfortable and in your practice. Allow the knees to open wide and raise your feet up in the air. Grab the outside of the feet into happy baby and just rock a little bit more. It's important to note that Yin Yoga you might feel sensations, and that's okay, because Yin Yoga releases the fascia and some muscles that have been tight for a long time. I know that doing Yin Yoga has released some of my tightness in my lower back that nothing else has. So stick with it, even if it feels a little bit uncomfortable, but not if it feels like it's actually hurting you. So that's something you need to develop an awareness. Bring your knees back together. And lower your feet to the ground. Okay, so come back up to seated and bring your legs out in front of you. So bring your soles of your feet together and your legs wide. So into butterfly Baddha Konasana. So if it might be more comfortable if you have blocks to put them under your knees if they don't go all the way to the ground. But of course, that's not necessary. So just stay here with your breath. Allow the muscles to start to release. And even if you start with blocks or a blanket or something under your knees, you can always move them out if you feel like you can go a little bit deeper. But of course, that's not required. Can inhale and exhale, leaning forward a little bit. You might want to put your elbows on your calves as you lean forward. Keep your eyes looking straight. Keep the back straight. We don't want to round our back, but we do want to get a little bit of a stretch in there. Now your next inhale, straighten up. Keep your butterfly legs here. And we're going to twist to the side. So inhale, and on the next exhale, place your right hand on your left knee and look out behind your left shoulder. If you have shorter arms, you might want to have a block under your hand. Otherwise, you can, just use your fingers or your hand flat, whichever works for your body. Just breathe into it. You might want to see if you can go a little deeper into the stretch. Eyes are looking towards your left shoulder, and if you can, a little bit over it. Release that side, come back to center. Bend forward again, over your feet. Inhale, raise up. Exhale, we're twisting to the right side. Put your left hand, your right knee, your right arm behind you, and your gaze should be towards your right shoulder. I have a little bit of a tight neck, so I can't completely look over the shoulder, but my intention is to look in the direction of my right shoulder. Inhale, feel the energy rising up your spine to your crown. Feel it making you taller. And then see if you can go a little deeper into the twist. If you can't, that's fine. Inhale, and on the exhale, come back to center. Inhale, and on your next exhale, come back forward over your toes. Try to get a little bit of a deeper stretch into the lower spine. This is one time when you might want to put a block under your forehead, maybe on your feet. Bring your head back up, rise up. Bring your legs out in front of you. Just shake them out. And when you're ready, come to standing. If you have a block, you might want to set it on your mat. Come into Tadasana mountain pose. I'm going to have the block behind my feet. You can keep your feet however close is comfortable. I don't personally believe that your toes have to be together. You can raise your shoulders up towards your ears and then gently let them fall down your back. Hands facing your body on your sides. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, bring them down to your heart. Breathe, relax. It's okay to stand and not be doing something all the time. It's okay if you wobble a little bit. Bring your hands back down to your sides. So we're going to be going to Malasana next, which is yogi squat. So the easiest way I've found from Tadasana to go down into yogi squat is if you don't need the block, that's fine, but we might be in it for a few minutes, so it might be easier to hold it. So I put my feet a little bit turning out, because I know personally when I keep them straight, I feel like uncomfortable tugging in my muscles of my lower legs. So in order to avoid straining those muscles, I just turn my legs out a little bit and then gently lower yourself down. You can either use a block or not. Regardless, you can just put your hands together at your heart. You can use your elbows to hold your legs or your knees open. As I said, it's okay if there's a little bit of discomfort. That's expected, especially if you sit a lot or haven't stretched these muscles out in a long time. The more you do this, the more the muscles will release any tightness and discomfort. If it's a little too wide, you can bring the knees closer together. Aim for keeping your back as straight as you can. So right now you might want to not focus on the knees, just hold on to your knees, in fact, and just take a deep breath as you lift your crown towards the ceiling. And bring your prayer hands back to the front of your chest. And just release into the pose. So if you're sitting on a block, you can move it out of the way to lower yourself down to the ground. Or if you're just squatting, come to seated. Bring your legs back out in front of you. Do some windshield wipers. It's going to release any tightness that might have formed in those hip flexors. So come back to your knees. Do a little more cat-cow. On your inhale, face comes forward, spine rounds down so that your butt's up in the air. Exhale, round your spine. Continue at your own pace. Come back to neutral and bring your left knee forward. We're coming into full swan. So if you might need a block or a blanket to go under your hip if it's raised, get that ready. You're trying to make the left leg, which we brought into the front, parallel to the short end of your mat. But if it can't go that far, that's perfectly fine. Bring your right leg out, stretch it out behind you, the top of your foot flat on the ground. And I'm a little tight, so I have a blanket under my left hip. So we'll just stay high in the front of our torso to keep your back tall. Look straight ahead. Try to release into any tightness that might be there. Slowly lower yourself down onto your forearms. That might be as far as you can go. But if you can lower your forehead down onto your hands to go into sleeping swan. If it becomes uncomfortable, you can back out. If you're on your elbows, you might want to put your palms of your hands together or clasp your hands. So rise back up onto your hands and move that front leg back into tabletop. You might want to move your hips back and forth, try to loosen up in there in your hips. And when you're ready, bring your right shin forward and your left leg back. Stay upright if you can. Bring your shoulders away from your ears and look forward. Now lower gently down onto your forearms. And if it's part of your practice, you can lower down your forehead down onto your hands. Rise back up on your hands. Bring the front leg back. Hands and knees. Take a child's pose. If you have access to a blanket or a bolster, we're going to do supported child's pose. So if you have a bolster, bring that in front of you. Bring your knees wide, your toes together. Lower yourself down on the bolster. Even if you're just not using any block, if you have a block, you could put a block under your forehead. Or if you're doing the supported child's pose, put your right cheek down, and I'll tell you when to turn. If you're on one cheek, you can turn your head and go on the other cheek now. So if you're using a bolster or a blanket, you want to move it out of the way and just slide forward onto your belly into a full prostration. You can reach your hands out above your head. Roll over onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest. Roll it out a little bit. And set up for Shavasana. There are several ways you can do this. You can either just bring your legs out straight, flat. But if that's not comfortable, you can either put a bolster under your knees, or what I'm going to do today is I'll put a little blanket under my back. So what I'm going to do is you just stay in this position, and then after a few minutes, I'll sit up and I'll start playing the crystal bowl, say a few words. Just try to get as comfortable as you can. You can stay where you are. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live a life of ease. onto your side and come to a seated position. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed it.